Good evening.
Could you hear me? Could you hear me there, David?
You are currently live, Terry, so I've just jumped on to give you a hand, mate. Welcome
Yeah.
to the show, everybody. As terrible as that game we just watched there was, started awful. I guess you could say the same about little technical difficulties with the with the pod there, but we're back. Terry, are you there, mate? I'll get you to jump in whenever you're ready. While we're waiting on Terry, what can we say about about that? That was arguably the worst European performance that I've watched in a long, long time. But while we're sitting here stewing on that result, why don't you just give us a like, give us a share, and tell your mum that was honestly the most embarrassing thing that I've watched in a long, long time. This is supposed to be a post-match show with Terry, who seems to be having a bit of technical difficulties at the minute. I'm sure he'll join us soon. But while we're waiting on that, so let's have a look who's in the pod just now. We've got Jim C. We've got 420 somewhere. Good for you. Good to see you, mate. Pam, hello, Pam. Say hello, Pam. You're always saying hi somewhere in here. Who else? We've got McLaughlin P. And we've got Timmy Bing, Edward McEwen, and San Fran Celtic, and many, many more. What can I say, guys? That the lineup was what I think we all expected. We talked about it on the Friday show with Phil. That we thought it would be Reegan ahead of Engels. And Terry, you're there, mate. Sorry, mate. I just I saw that you couldn't get on screen when I was watching on YouTube, so
I couldn't get on. Were you able to hear me?
No, but I hear you now. And I'll let you. I'll let the driver take over. I put on the show to watch myself. Watch myself there, mate. And I saw you weren't coming up on screen, so I dashed to the computer to get you going.
I couldn't get in, so thank you for pulling me out.
You're welcome. You need to get that L plate.
That's why I'm still in the R plates now. I might have to go back and do my test again.
You get that L plate. But Terry's here, everybody. So I'll let the main man take over. I was just about to start talking about the lineup, Terry, because I know you like to go through that first. So I'll let you take it away, mate.
Yeah, let's bring it up. I mean, it was pretty much as expected. It's what I thought we would see. Back four. I think there was maybe some consideration to Trusty coming in, but the manager's gone with Scales again. He's gone for his first choice midfield three, which meant Engels on the bench. He's gone for James Forrest on the right, Dyson Knight on the left, and the mannequin through the middle. I mean, it's difficult to. It's going to be difficult to do this post-match, David, and try to separate what's gone on during the summer, which for me, there has been not even an air of complacency throughout the club, but a massive dark cloud of complacency around what's needed in terms of this team. And that's manifested tonight in such a lackluster, complacent, lazy performance that we've sat through. However, I think you can still look to possibly draw a line under all of that and look at what we did have on the park and in the dugout and ask the question, did those guys do enough? Had we enough to win that game tonight? And the manager was asked the same question in his press conference yesterday. Have we got enough to get through the tie? And it was a very emphatic yes. And I probably did this team a disservice last week because I said that I felt that, well, not that I felt because I hadn't seen them, but just going by the bookmakers' odds, that team were a bigger price to beat us than Falkirk were on Friday night. So that team were less fancied than Falkirk. and the bookies don't get too much wrong. That team played quite well. They were better than I thought they were, but I honestly don't think we asked enough questions of them at all. 45 minutes in, we haven't had one shot. We haven't tested the goalkeeper. By the end of the game, we had 2 attempts on goal. One where the goalkeeper made a good save from James Forrest, and 2 where Dyson Maeda, when the big chance came, he fluffed his lines. And that was it. And for a game of this magnitude, in a game where you're playing a team ranked hundreds and hundreds below you in Europe, that performance was just totally unacceptable. But it just represents what's been happening at the club over the last 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you managed to catch a little bit of McGregor's post-match interview there. He used the word anxiety quite a lot, describing maybe the atmosphere that happened in the stadium, and it grew. The anxiety then grew within the players in the first half. He recognised that there was very little urgency in their play, and there was questions asked of why that was, especially when Brendan had made it so clear at the start in his pre-match interview that that's what he was expecting of his players. Now, apart from obviously James Forrest starting and Reegan being part of the starting lineup ahead of Engels, that team pretty much is almost like for like the team that played in the Champions League last year. So why should a team like Celtic of that and that squad have anxieties over playing at home against a team that you said there was fancied less than a side like Falkirk that we blew away with 7 changes to the squad on the Friday night? It's concerning that perhaps what is going on with the board and the lack of transfers and the frustration that the fans have because of that is bleeding into the performances. Now, McGregor had said in his post-match that that's not the case, and they're totally blocking that out. But I beg to differ. The lack of opportunities created is really concerning against a side like that. Yeah, they did. Terry, I agree with you. They did look better than I was expecting. They actually created a lot more chances.
You know what, David? It could have been worse. We could have lost that game.
Well, the mistake for Carter Vickers, we got a let off. The ball ended up in the back of the net at one point. It was ruled offside, but I thought Casper looked very suspect at that. He's starting to really show his age. Casper, I thought that was an example of it. That I do feel like we will see Sinisalo take that jersey at some point throughout the season. Dyson's chance at the end when he fluffed his lines. I mean, he was running on empty, and that's rare to say or about Dyson Maeda, but I really felt like he that chance just came too late in the game for him. Adam Maeda been subbed off at half time, Terry. I don't know about you, but I think that is damning for our £9 million striker. Like that was to take him off to play Yang, who we thought had one foot out the door heading to Norwich at one point and had been dropped in the previous 2 games. Like, doesn't look great. Like Brendan's had to finally kind of give in to the pressure of playing Dyson through the middle when he's made it quite clear that he doesn't want to do that. And it almost worked, Terry. I know we'll get to that at some point in it, but that was really telling that he hooked him at halftime.
David, we're 50 watching us live, which is excellent. So thank you to those people. There's a hell of a lot of pods live at the same time. My phone's been pinging with them all going live. So for those 50 who are watching live, thank you very much. If you like the pod, give us a like, give us a share. Click that bell if you want to be notified when we go live. There is a membership of $1.99 if you're interested in that. I think you get a scarf beside your name whenever you make a comment. But our content's free. It'll continue to be free. But thanks very much. And if you're watching on delay or recording, again, give us a like if you like what you get from us. This isn't an emotional reaction. I don't want to see him in a Celtic shirt again. I'm not. It's not just about tonight, because he. Do you know what I was about to say? I'm not going to make one player the fall guy, but the manager kind of made him the fall guy, because, as you say, he pulled him at half-time and he replaced him with a guy who has been a bit part player at best. But that first half performance from Almeida, it was just disgusting, David. It was disgusting, to the point where after about 2 minutes in the second half, I felt Yang had done more than he did in the first half. And then I said to myself, what's Yang really done? And he showed a wee bit of effort. And is that what we've been reduced to now, where you're pleased that a Celtic player has shown a little bit of effort? My goodness, that should be the absolute minimum when you pull that shirt on. Almeida, I was thinking again back to the video of him in the taxi in the later part of the season when there's still silverware to be won. I get that his style probably makes him look lazy, but I think he is lazy, and I think we can forget about him. I think there's every chance he won't be here at the end of this window. You can see the manager tonight. There was a break in play, and he absolutely roasted him. He roasted him before halftime. Mm-hmm. And as you said, for him to be taken off at halftime is absolutely damning. He'd have talked whenever he was understudy to Kyogo. He talked about getting his opportunity, and he hasn't took it. And I see absolutely no sign of him ever hitting the heights for us again that he did during his loan spell.
He didn't earn the opportunity. He didn't earn it.
Well, he got it by default, David. He got it by default.
So I get it, yeah. He didn't earn it. He didn't take it from
nobody
Kyogo.
else.
He just got it out of default, he said, because Kyogo left.
And again, that's how it's hard to separate, because that's on the board that we went into that game with absolutely nothing up front. Nothing. And if Dyson Maeda is off form, which he clearly is, we have nothing. James Forrest shouldn't be put in that position where we're relying on him to get us into the group stage of the Champions League. He doesn't have the pace to go on the outside. If you've got a winger that can't go on the outside, they're very, very ineffective. Now, he did come inside and, again, busy, loads of effort, but he's been put in a very difficult position where he isn't of the level to play in that game. But he's been asked to do it because we've got nobody else. You can't start Shin because we've seen nothing from him to suggest he's good enough. You can't start Kenny because he hasn't shown anything either. And by default, you're left with the mannequin because he scored a few goals in the past. But our play wasn't terrible tonight up to the final third. But once it got to the final third, we were just completely bereft of any quality, any ideas. I think we could have played right through until next Tuesday night, and we wouldn't have scored. And if you look at the chances in the game, they've had the best two chances. That one that was offside, I felt at the time, I felt confident it was offside, but when you see the replay, it was the length of a boot off. That could very easily have been a goal. And then the Carter Vickers one, it was I thought it was going to be a similar goal to to Bruges' first goal last night. It was a sort of same scenario, a mistake from a defender, and then the guy chips the goalkeeper. Luckily for us, that one didn't go in. But I think we're second favourites now to go through. I still have, I haven't given up all hope. Whilst I said I thought I was surprised by the level of Kairat, I still think we have a chance to go through. I think we've got a decent chance to go through, but again, we're gonna have to go to Kazakhstan and win a game of football, and we haven't done that in our last 3 attempts. And all the stuff about the journey and the heat, all of that's just got to go out of the window. That team travelled to us to play tonight, but what nobody's actually touched on is they travelled to Bratislava from Kazakhstan last week, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then went home, played a league game, and have now come the whole way across to Glasgow. So they've actually done the journey twice in a week. We're going to be doing it once. So hats off to those guys. They were well organised. Keeper was decent, albeit we didn't make him work anywhere near hard enough. And the journey home, they'll really enjoy that, no matter how long it is, because they've got a wonderful chance of going through to the group stages of the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is it 2 draws and a defeat we've had in our last 3?
No, 1 draw. We got a draw against Astana, 1 each in 2016. We lost 2-0 to Shakhtar Karagandhi, and we lost. What was it? Was it 4-3 to Astana on the night? Yeah, it was 4-3 to Astana on the night. The last time we were in Kazakhstan, again we were 4-1 down in. So it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't look good. I'm not confident at all, which is mad. Because regardless of what people think of the comments, like McGregor was correct. We do on paper have the quality to have seen off that tie. I was predicting a 4-0 last night. Last night with Phil. A lot of people were agreeing with me in the comments, and I've got egg on my face tonight after such a lackluster performance. But I don't. Let's focus on Reegan for a second. Do you feel that was the right call to start him tonight? I did personally say, I think he is the one that needs to start. I feel like he blows a bit hot and cold at times, from what we've seen so far. I understand why he started for us, but I did kind of like the idea of maybe just playing Reegan out on the right wing and playing Engels, because I do feel like Brendan goes on about pace and power that you need at this level now, regardless of what level Kairat are at domestically and yada yada. They're in the same competition that we are in at the minute, or certainly trying to fight for a place in this competition. And Forrest, unfortunately, now lacks the pace. He's never really had the power. He's got the game intelligence, like no doubt about it. What he lacks now, he's gained so much more in experience and game intelligence. But I did feel like you could see it was quite evident that pace was lacking, that we really needed, that we'd lost McCoon leaving. And I know Reegan doesn't particularly give you that option out on the right hand side.
Yeah.
I just kind of felt like maybe that energy that he does bring was maybe needed alongside Engels in the midfield, because the midfield just wasn't working. Certainly that first half. Hatate was trying his best. I think we were getting a bit of both sides of the coin with Hatate. Sometimes it kind of feels like you're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks at times. But that's what we had been resorted to, because nothing else seemed to be happening. When Yang came on, I think we've got that pace and energy we're looking for, but he just lacks that quality. And then when you're looking at the cogs for putting Dyson out as a striker when he's. I think what we gain from putting Dyson through the middle, we maybe lose too much that he brings on the wings with his recovery pace and pressing and stuff. But I just
see David, come back onto Negrin there, and it's I had made the point. I expected Negrin to play on the right hand side in the last game there against Falkirk. I thought he would have played. Now I get why he's gone with him tonight. He's kind of gone for as attacking a midfield three as he can, obviously with McGregor sitting in his role, but then Hatate and Negrin as the two creative players to go and make things happen. But when you don't have the options, you don't have the players ahead of you who are making the right runs or able to make fast enough runs or anything at all, the play was kind of breaking down with Negrin quite a lot because he was getting into good positions, but he wasn't able to unpick the lock. Hatate wasn't able to unpick the lock. And a point you made during the summer, which I thought about as well, in our current position where we don't have good wingers, you made a suggestion, why don't we just not play with wingers then? And I think there's an argument for that. I think there's an argument for getting the width from the two fullbacks, Johnson and Tierney. I remarked at the weekend there about how far forward they've been getting in the games that they've played this season. And I felt there was an argument. Again, this involves Negrin playing not as a wide right, but an inverted right, and perhaps Hatate as an inverted left. And then that still allows you to then have a midfield three, even if you want it, of McGregor, McCowan and Bernardo, and Maida through the middle. So you're not actually playing with those wide wingers. You're playing with two inverted wingers, and you're getting the width from Tierney, and you're getting the width from Johnson. Obviously, that's not going to work now because it looks as if Johnson's took a bad one. That doesn't look like a hamstring tweak. That looks like a rib or a tear, and that didn't look good. And we need, if it's not good, we need Tony Ralston to be able to get his levels of first season Ange back again very quickly. And certainly in that game tonight, he looked well short of that level. But I think we're going to have to do something different because if we go into the away game doing what we did tonight, I don't see that it's going to work. And even though they'll be the home team, I think they'll be happy to sort of play a similar game. They'll look at that game tonight and go, Celtic didn't cause us any problems at all. I think they'll play tight again, and they'll just feel that we'll tire a lot more in the conditions that we're not used to. And if they get the same chances that they got again tonight, they'll back themselves to take them. That's tonight's game and the two games against Slovan. They've been very, very well organised at the back, and they don't concede it. They don't concede a lot of goals. So I know you said you thought it would be 4-0, and I think to be honest, every Celtic fan thought I was thinking at the game, the absolute minimum you would want to go away with was a 2-goal lead. I thought 3 would be decent and 4 would be good. But little did I think would be hanging on for a draw, if you know what I mean. But there's not much we can do because we can't bring anybody else in. It's now down to the manager and this group of players. And go back to Callum McGregor. I didn't see him post-match, but I did see him pre-match. It's one thing for the fans to talk about bringing in other players. And it's one thing for the manager to talk about the need to bring in other players. But when the actual players on the pitch are saying that we need to bring in more players, I think that tells you all you need to know. You know, if your captain playing in the centre of the field knows that we need more players in, it's just absolutely damning. And go back again. Engels probably is unfortunate not to play tonight because he was kicking his heels on the sideline. He got his opportunity, and we did caveat it on Friday night. We did caveat it was Falkirk, but no matter who it's against, he was putting in good deliveries, and he continued to do that tonight. Scales got in the end of one. You know, I'm not saying Engels was on form, but he was delivering good balls into the box, and I don't know. It's difficult, and we're thinking, what if, and what if we done this, and we should have done that. Ultimately, the 11 that were out there should have been good enough, but they weren't, and the fact they weren't is on the powers that be at the club. Yeah, you must have heard on the TV from 67 minutes onwards. Chance of sack the board ringing round the stadium. The camera actually panned to Peter Lawwell and Michael Nicholson, and a lot of this is on those guys, and they've got to step up and take responsibility. And it'll be the manager again who gets asked about why we've gone into the game with what we went in terms of players. It'll be him, and I think somebody else should front up and answer those questions, because he can't answer them because he wants the players in, and for whatever reason, the club just haven't done their job. It's a complete dereliction of duty on those guys. And I was listening to Steve-O on the Celtic World Order earlier today, and he made a similar point to I made last week. Everyone's saying the board are risk adverse, but they're not. They're actually gamblers, and they've gambled massively with our Champions League place and the money that goes along with that. And you know, this is very much on them, and that's not absolving the manager. I think Brendan Rodgers has been really, really clever in how he's used his press conferences to almost absolve him of anything that goes wrong from this moment, because I've tried, I've begged, and they're not giving me what I need. But there should still have been enough there to get that job done. So nobody is above ridicule in terms of this. The players, the manager, the hierarchy at the club. The only people who there's no blame in proportion to is the fans. The fans that turn up, the fans that sing their hearts out, turn up, pay their money, and you know, there'll be people travelling home during the course of the night, probably off work tomorrow, and all for such a poor lackluster performance. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I go back to what I said earlier. I just feel like the negativity that's surrounding, or the frustrations that's surrounding the club, and the clear separation between the board and the fans and the manager, it is bleeding into the performance tonight. I think I feel like there was a real anticlimax to the squad announcement, because I feel like we were just clinging on as we always do. We always fall for it, that false hope that surely they're going to sign somebody to add to the squad. And even like the likes of seeing like how well Inamura done it in pre-season, and yes, I totally take on board what Brendan was saying about the level of opposition we were playing against in pre-season, and it was pre-season, but then there was that little glimmer of hope of going, okay, well, maybe this boy that we've brought in is another one of these signings that we've made that's like, okay. And then we're getting told that, you know, He's not. He's just not at that level yet. And then the question, I just don't understand why he's been. Why is he been? Why is he been signed then? And I like to question why Callum Osborne makes the Champions League squad tonight when we've got a boy that's never kicked a ball at professional football at a competitive level other than a Premier League B side. He's been thrown into our B side since he arrived, and he's at the level to be in our Champions League squad. But the Japanese left back, who had, let's be honest, had a better first impression than Callum Osborne gave us, wasn't considered. It's just all very confusing. And like you say, we just the fans did their part tonight. They turned up. They created the noise. They did what they could do. In terms of supporting the team, and it's not been reciprocated by the board. And like you said, Terry, it wasn't working tonight for whatever reason, and something's just not quite clicking. Even I can't help but feel like Kieran Tierney's coming in. Like this is just it's an obvious upgrade. I'm sure the Punk Duck, when he shows up, he'll back me here. Like he's an obvious upgrade from Greg Taylor. But there's just something not quite clicking with him on that left-hand side with Dyson right now. And I don't know, maybe if it is a case of we need to change the system up to suit what we have at the minute. And there was a suggestion in the comments last night of, as well, it was I think it was Brown Warrior had said, why not try a 3-5-2 and get the width from our fullbacks like Kieran Tierney and obviously Alistair Johnson, who's now not longer available to us. They could have been that attacking threat on the width, because we're inundated with good midfielders, Terry. But we're lacking quality in that final third right now in terms of strikers and wingers. But maybe two up front, maybe having a Dyson and a Nida playing up front together would suit them both in the classic little man, big man.
He doesn't play a game, David. He does not play a game under any circumstances.
Do you honestly believe that Brendan would go to that level of like?
If I was picking the team, he'd never play for Celtic again. But
look at this guy claims to be a grown up as a Celtic fan. We were talking about like the bare minimum you should have is effort, and
I don't know if he was a Celtic fan. I mean, he's got a tricolour tattooed on his arm. That doesn't make you a Celtic.
I know, but he claimed. But we're going from what he claims. This is a team.
So everybody claims Celtic's their second team and their favourite team in the
yeah, well, Kyogo was a born and bred Celtic fan, Terry. We know that. Kyogo was born and bred Celtic.
Let me just spin it, David. So, if Kyogo and Kuhn were playing tonight, do you think we would have drawn 0-0? Not a chance. Not a chance.
I think we would have seen certainly more energy about this side, but I'll go back to what I said last night on the way Brendan's got us set up right now does not suit any striker that we're playing up front at the minute. Any. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because let's be honest, Kyogo was not firing. And then the only time he really started firing was the game that he was his last ever game at Celtic, because he was trying like an absolute animal to score, and he put the ball in the net 3 times. But yeah, more than likely, we probably would have won the game with those two players in the side. So I'll give you a black and white answer as yes, we probably would have. But I'm not fully convinced, because I just don't believe the way that we're playing right now suits any striker that we play up front. I don't think anybody you put in that position is scoring in that team tonight. The way he has a setup, the way we're playing, there was that whole thing last season about the.
You say that, but there was still plenty of balls. There was still plenty of balls going into the box, and it's up to the centre forward to make the runs, to anticipate, to be in the right place, to challenge for balls. I mean, your man's just dandering about, and I don't know. I mean, what other club who think they're a big club
The way we're playing now. The way we're playing now. That's what I say that.
Yeah. But let's their top performing players leave without having a replacement in. But we go an extra step. We don't even try to replace them. Do not even try to replace them. We're up to 227 in the live, so some of the other pods must have finished. But thank you everybody for joining us. But there's probably a few Rangers fans on as well, getting their own back for last night, because I think there was quite a few Celtic fans infiltrating the Rangers pods. But I tell you what, our performance tonight was 10 times worse than their performance last night. But the way we're playing, so what happens then, David? I would drastically change the formation. I would try something different. I don't see what we're currently doing working in this away tie. I think we have to get more of those midfielders on.
McCowan for one. I feel McCowan.
Well, an away game in Europe. If you think back to when Paulo Bernardo first signed for the club, remember the sort of running joke? He played the Champions League games and he never played anything else because they're the games that he was suited to.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Now you can't get a game at all. Luke McClellan, do you know what? Anybody's worth a shot at this stage. I would be trying to line up with, or here's another one. And again, I've already said I've seen nothing from Shin. Now, I totally accept he's only been getting the tail end of matches, but with his pace, or the pace that I'm led to believe that he's got, I would have hoped that we could have had him in a position where he could be played away from home in Europe as a striker, and then you've got Maeda up there supporting as well. So I'm thinking probably not the tie next week, because as I said, I don't expect this team to come out and try to open up and play ball. But I'm thinking more if we got to the group stages and you're playing a team and it's a backs to the wall sort of game, like we had a couple of last year away from home, and you've got that absolute blistering pace up front, it gives you an out ball. And it's a totally different game from, a team completely sitting in and trying to hit you on the break. But I think next week, I expect it to be much of a muchness. I think it will play out similar to tonight's game, where we'll be the team trying to make the play. It's just going to be a lot more difficult. Or is there an argument that it might be less difficult because there'll be a very small away support and the players won't feel the anxiety coming from the crowd? They'll be relaxed and they'll be able to go and get the job done.
I mean, I don't think they've conceded a goal in their Champions League campaign so far away from home, so they're going to fancy it, I think. Terry, I think they've definitely gained a little bit more confidence going to be playing at home.
Do you think we'll go through, David? Do you think we'll go through? Yes or no? One word.
Yes, I do.
I'm yes as well. I don't know how we're going to do it, but
I think we'll skip by the skin of our teeth, which is
penalty kicks.
No, I think we'll get a goal, but I think it'll an open play or from a set piece in the 90 minutes.
You would think we have to score, because we very, very rarely go on a streak of games. I think that was the first home game, I think the commentator said, since sometime in 2023 that we failed to score. The probability, the laws of probability would say that we're going to get a goal out there. It's just,
where does it come from, though, Terry? That's what I was texting my mate at the game tonight, and I said to him, I was like, I don't know where the goal.
It's going to be a free kick or a corner or something, isn't it?
Yeah, scales header.
Which just sounds so stupid that we're relying that a corner's our best chance of getting a goal whenever we're shot at those as well. And I think the one we got on Friday night was the first one in Donkeys. But that's what we've been reduced to here.
Oh dear.
We will get
overhead
it done.
kick by
We will get it done. But it, the manager just has to find a way. And no matter how bad the summer's been, this looks bad on him if he can't get the job done against that team where they are positioned in world football. But on top of that, you've now got a game against Livingston, who aren't going to come to Celtic Park and make it easy. And you're going to have that same thing. You're going to have the fans coming back on Saturday, still seething about tonight's game. And I would imagine, I thought it would have happened before now, but I think there'll be some kind of banners in the stadium just in case Peter Lawwell and Michael Nicholson didn't hear the constant chants for the last 35 minutes. I thought there would be a banner before now. There'll definitely be a banner come Saturday. But then you've got to get the job done against Livingston, because at the minute, the Champions League it's very, very much in the balance. The SPL, we've managed to open up an advantage over Rangers, but we've got to sustain that. Can you imagine if we don't get the job done on Saturday, what it's going to be like? And then you're heading off into that game in Kazakhstan off the back of two poor results. So Livingston on Saturday now takes on a whole different importance. We have to do something in that game to give us a bit of confidence, a platform to then go to Kazakhstan with a plan of how we're going to get through. It's just unfathomable that we don't get through this tie. We're just going to have to find a way, and that's what Rodgers gets the money for. But I know he's got his hands tied behind his back, but he's got to find a way of getting it done.
Yeah, and I just thought I'd bring this up, Terry. We've actually got a Kairat fan in the comments. So cheers for jumping on. Just for your information, the stadium is located close to China, and the city is surrounded by mountains. It's very hard to breathe there. Good game tonight. So that's just another factor that we need to, it's.
Well, I found it very hard to breathe watching that game tonight.
Palpitations were going.
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Though, as disappointed as we are, it's nice that someone
hitting all corners of the world.
Is on.
Mr. Worldwide, Terry.
David, can you imagine tomorrow morning there'll be phone calls getting made to Balikwisha's agent? We'll maybe just hold off for another week. We're not ready to press the button on that. I mean, what on earth's going on? If we were working on anything, that'll all be put on hold now for a week.
Yeah, well, I mean, quickly just on targets and stuff. Like Jamie Vardy's obviously was a big talking point yesterday. I think it's quieting down today, so I don't know how much real stroke that has. Well, let's just say it was. Would he have been the difference maker at 38 years old for you, Terry? Just while we're talking about potential signings that we were expecting to see by now, he was named as one. Would he have been the difference maker? Would you have brought him on instead of Yang if when the mannequin was yanked over halftime?
No, I'd have started him in front of him. I in principle, I'm totally against the Vardy signing. I was really, really strongly against it when the rumours were being made at the end of the season when he became a free agent. That's not where I see Celtic. That's not where I want to see Celtic. I want us to be forward thinking and thinking to the future, and building. A signing like that just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit our model, but it doesn't fit my vision for Celtic. Not that that's important to anybody other than me. However, what I would say is right now, I would take him. I would take him all day long because I'm not convinced we're going to get anybody else. And I would take him.
Isn't it, Terry? Even just saying that out loud.
And you made the point. You made the point last night. Was it last night you were on, or Tuesday? Yeah,
Tuesday night.
Last night. I was listening to it this morning actually when I was out walking. You made a really good point, and I think you quoted me as well. Whenever Joe Hart left, we had 3 months' notice, probably 6, because we would have known ahead of that what his plans were. We had about 6 months to get a replacement, and we dithered and delayed and dallied, and the board came up with a player who'd been playing in League One on loan from Aston Villa. And whilst I think that could turn out to be a good move in the future, at the time that wasn't going to be enough for the manager. He's then got his mobile out, gone through his list, and he's got Kasper Schmeichel in. If there's any legs in this Jamie Vardy rumour at all, it's that same scenario playing out again. Whether he's been presented with names or he's not been presented with anything, he has begged for reinforcements. He keeps talking about the top of the pitch. He means centre forward. Kyogo left in January. They knew he was going from the summer, and 12 months on from when we knew he was going, we haven't replaced him at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a case of, do you know what? Mobile out again. Jamie Vardy, I didn't want to do this, but if that's all I'm going to get, I'm going to try and push this through. And that's kind of where I'm at as well. If we're not going to get anything else, we need to bring somebody in. We need to bring him in. If he's an option, we need to bring him in. Here's the thing as well, though, David. My gut feel is we won't sign him because there's Premier League teams interested in him. And as much as newspapers were quoting him saying he wanted to go to Celtic and that was his first choice, money will talk. He could still command 60, 70 grand for a week in the Premier League. No problem at all with the teams that are being mentioned. No problem. But I would take him. And long-winded answer. I'm against it. I was against it up until probably about Sunday, and I would just take him because I just don't have any faith that we're going to do anything of any note in this window. I started the week sort of positive actually with the Calvin Stings links, because he looked a real player whenever we played Fenner. Now it probably turns out he's only maybe played about 10 games since that, and that's 2 years ago. But again, what have we been doing all summer? What have we been doing all summer? The Balikwisha one, this deal will go through, but we've been working on this deal for 2 years. I was listening to the Record Hotline. They do a good wee show every day at 6 o'clock. The different guys are on, and it's quite interesting because when you read the Daily Record, you just go, oh, that guy writing that's a Rangers fan, and he's definitely a Rangers fan. They're all Rangers fans. But when you see the guys on talking live, you know they don't hide the team they support. There's 2 of them that are Rangers fans. They get going to all the Rangers games. They report on Rangers, and there's 2 that are Celtic fans, and they do likewise. So, but he made a really, really funny comment today. He says by the time this Balikwisha deal goes through, his first match will be his testimonial because it's been dragging on that long. I thought it was comedy gold. He'll sign.
How do you feel about that signing, Terry? How do you feel about that signing? How do you feel about Balikwisha as a signing?
Again,
any excitement's gone for me because
the excitement was there. The excitement was there when the link first came through. You do the usual. Everybody does it. You get the YouTube on. Yeah, he looks decent, but it's just dragged on that long. It's kind of like fucking like just either do it or fucking move on. Like, do you know what I mean? It's boring. It's boring now, and you know rightly yourself. I thought, you know, the minute he comes in, he's going to be carrying a knock. And you probably won't see him before Christmas.
Yeah, he'll turn up on a stretcher or something.
But
his injury record speaks for itself. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. I just get Dirk Berichter vibes off him. Like, I just feel like he's going to come in with this exciting winger that we've got that, it's got decent pedigree or whatever, and we're never going to see him because he's just going to be on an injury list.
Do you know what?
I hope I'm wrong, but
I think there's one more out. There's one more out to go. One more major out.
It's not Dyson. I don't believe Dyson's leaving in this window, if that's where you're heading.
No, I am concerned that it's him, but just the comments the manager made about Celtic as a club that pays your wages, he was talking directly to someone who probably started that match tonight. Or someone who's definitely in the first team squad that we're relying on. Like that was a very, very strange conversation and language for the manager to use in a press conference in the lead up to a Champions League game. He's going out of his way to essentially call out one of his players who he doesn't think is playing for the jersey. And I think there's going to be one big outgoing. I'm worried that it's Maida. I hope it's Ida. Whatever. If there's somebody mad enough to take him, just sign it off. Just sign it off and call it a day, because it's never going anywhere.
I don't see Maida leaving in this window, but I do think he may leave in January, like the Kyogo situation. I don't think he's directly just talking about Maida because he doesn't. I will never claim to know the guy, but I just don't get I'm not getting the Isaac vibes off him where he's going to start getting his agent involved and claiming that Celtic had promised him stuff. I don't see any of that happening. I wouldn't be surprised, Terry, if he was talking about Rio. Because I'll take you back to comments that he made maybe a couple of days or a week previously. He mentioned there's been zero interest in Rio. I think he said that in one of the preseason. There's been no bids for him, and I wondered if maybe he's kicking up a stink and saying he wants to move on, and he's maybe concerned about potential like where he could be playing next season. Because I don't know why. I don't know why he brought up the comments that you like what you've said. However, I also don't know why he would even mention why Rio's not had any bids anyway. So I don't.
Yeah.
It just seems like I just wonder if there's maybe a bit of something going on with that. Because I know there was maybe take you back to last season, we didn't see Rio for a good few weeks, and it was the who was the midfielder we let go? Went to Cardiff, Turnbull.
Yeah, Turnbull.
But Terry, I'm going to have to shoot because daddy duties are calling.
Oh, that's fine, mate. Thanks for jumping on. Apologies to everybody for the technical issues at the start. Still 200 live. We'll draw a line under it tonight. We'll come back and do it all again on Saturday, and then we'll just see what happens next Tuesday night.
To do it all over again, mate. We'll do it all over again. Right, well, I'm going to shoot. But thanks, everybody, for bearing with us. And Terry, legend, as always.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you.